It was past midnight when Emily pulled into a lonely gas station off Highway 19. Her little boy, Noah, was asleep in the back seat, his small head leaning against the window. The air was still, the parking lot dimly lit, and the hum of the gas pump was the only sound in the night. She thought it would be a quick stop, just enough gas to make it home. But before she could finish pumping, 3 men walked toward her car, their laughter echoing through the empty lot. They looked rough, loud, and drunk. Her heart started to race. Emily's hands trembled as one of the men leaned closer, smirking. "Hey, sweetheart," he said. "You look like you could use some company." That's when fear turned into panic. But what happened next would leave the entire town talking. Not because of violence, but because of kindness. Before we dive into this story of courage, kindness, and unexpected heroes, make sure to subscribe to Whispers of Goodness, where real stories remind us that compassion still exists in this world. If this story touches your heart, please like, comment, and share it so more people can feel inspired to spread kindness. Now, let's begin. Emily had been a single mother for 3 years. Life hadn't been easy since her husband left, but she was proud of how far she'd come. She worked 2 jobs, mornings at a diner and evenings cleaning offices, just to keep a roof over their heads. That night, she'd stayed late after her shift at the diner. The tips were better on Fridays, and she needed every dollar for Noah's school supplies. By the time she clocked out, it was nearly midnight. She was exhausted, her eyes heavy, her hands sore, and all she wanted was to get home. But halfway there, the gas light blinked. She sighed, took the next exit, and pulled into a rundown gas station that looked half-dash abandoned. As she stood by the pump, she heard loud voices behind her. 3 men stumbled out of the dark pickup truck. They smelled of beer and trouble. "Hey, lady," one of them shouted. "Nice car for someone working graveyard shifts." Emily forced a polite smile and turned away, hoping they'd lose interest. She tried to keep her focus on the gas meter, but their footsteps grew louder. "Where you headed?" the second man asked, leaning on her car door. "Home," she said softly, clutching her purse. The third man chuckled. "You got a husband waiting for you?" Emily's throat tightened. "No, please, just leave me alone." The first man grinned. Single mom, huh? You should hang out with us instead. We can take care of you." She stepped back, her heart thudding in her chest. She wanted to scream, but Noah was asleep inside. She didn't want to scare him. That moment. The situation could have gone from bad to worse. But fate had other plans. About 50 yards away, a group of bikers was parked outside a small 24-hour diner. They were members of a local motorcycle club called the Iron Brothers. Despite their rough look, leather jackets, tattoos, heavy boots, they were known in town for organizing charity rides and raising money for veterans and families in need. One of them, a tall man named Reed, noticed the scene unfolding across the lot. "Hey," he said to his buddies, his tone serious. "Something's not right over there." The others turned to look. They saw the 3 men surrounding Emily, her body stiff with fear. Without hesitation, Reed started his bike. The engine roared to life, echoing through the still night. The rest of the crew followed, headlights blazing like a wall of light cutting through the darkness. Within seconds, they surrounded the gas station. The thugs froze. Reed pulled up beside Emily's car and removed his helmet. His voice was calm but firm. "Ma'am, you okay?" Emily's eyes filled with tears. They wouldn't leave me alone. Reed turned toward the men. "You heard the lady," he said. "Time to move on." One of the men scoffed. "What's it to you, man? We're just talking." Reed's expression hardened. "You've had enough talk." The rest of the bikers formed a circle around Emily's car, their engines rumbling in unison. The noise was deafening, powerful enough to make anyone think twice. The thugs exchanged nervous glances. They weren't so brave anymore. Finally, the leader of the group muttered something under his breath and backed off. "Whatever, man. She ain't worth it." They stumbled to their truck and sped away into the darkness. Emily stood frozen for a moment, unable to speak. The sudden silence felt unreal. Reed got off his bike and gently asked, "You sure you're all right, ma'am?" She nodded, tears running down her cheeks. Thank you so much. I didn't know what to do." Reed gave a small smile. "You don't have to thank us. Nobody deserves to be scared like that." Emily looked around at the bikers, big, tough men with kind eyes. One of them handed her a bottle of water. Another offered to check her car to make sure she was safe to drive. Her hands were still shaking as she whispered, "I was just trying to get home to my son." Reed looked through the car window and saw the little boy sleeping soundly in the back seat. "You're doing a good job, Mom," he said softly. "Keep your chin up. You're stronger than you think." Those words broke her. She hadn't heard something that kind in years. Before they left, Reed handed her a small business card. It had the Iron Brothers logo and a phone number. "Call this anytime," he said. "Doesn't matter what it's about. If you ever need help, you got friends now." Emily took the card with trembling fingers. "I'll never forget this," she whispered. The bikers nodded, started their engines again, and rode off into the night, their taillights glowing red like a convoy of guardian angels. Emily sat in her car for a long time, crying quietly while her son slept, safe and untouched. Life went back to its usual rhythm. Early mornings, long shifts, school drop-offs. But Emily couldn't stop thinking about that night. One Saturday morning, she decided to visit the Iron Brothers clubhouse. She brought homemade pies, 2 of them, fresh from her oven. When she arrived, the men were surprised. "Hey, it's the gas station lady," one of them said with a grin. Emily laughed. "I just wanted to say thank you, properly." Reed came over, wiping grease from his hands. "You didn't have to do that." "I know," she said, smiling through tears. "But I wanted to. You saved me, and my boy. I want you to know your kindness mattered." Reed nodded. "That's what we're here for." Word spread quickly around town. People began to see the Iron Brothers differently. Not as rough bikers, but as protectors, neighbors, men with big hearts that a local news station even covered the story. Emily's interview went viral online. When asked what she wanted to say to the bikers, she said, "They didn't just save me from danger. They reminded me that goodness still exists in people. Sometimes kindness comes from the least expected places." The Iron Brothers received messages from across the country, from single moms, veterans, and ordinary folks saying the story gave them hope. And it did more than that. It started a ripple effect. Within weeks, the bikers launched a new program called Guardians on the Road, offering free roadside assistance to women traveling alone at night. Other biker clubs across the state joined in. What began as one act of kindness turned into a movement. Months later, Emily still carried that small Iron Brothers card in her purse. Not because she needed help anymore, but because it reminded her that kindness is stronger than fear. That night at the gas station could have ended in tragedy. But it didn't, because strangers chose to stand up, to care, to act with compassion when it mattered most. In a world that often feels divided and cold, kindness can still roar louder than hate. Sometimes it looks like leather jackets and motorcycles. Sometimes it's just a hand that reaches out and says, "You're not alone." So the next time you see someone struggling, be their light. Be their guardian. Because you never know whose life you might change with a single act of kindness. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Whispers of Goodness, where real stories remind us that even in the darkest nights, kindness still shines bright. Remember, every small act counts. You can't change the whole world, but you can change someone's world, and that's how goodness begins.